This is John T for the Boxing Voice, and I'm joined this evening by British and Commonwealth welterweight champion Chris Jenkins. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. What have you been up to?
Got up this morning, had a few chores to do. Went for a little run. Come back, and then it was Farmer's birthday, so now we got some time to have a little chat to catch up.
Good stuff. Yeah. Well, look, thanks for taking time for coming on. So it's the first time we've had you on the site, and you've got a really interesting career. Been around for a few years now, and a lot to talk about. So if it's all right with you, I thought we'd start off with the prize fighter. So that's a few years back now. I get that, but that was certainly the first time that I saw you on TV, and sort of like that, maybe where you came forward, if you like. So talk to us how the prize fighter night was.
It was good. I think I was 7-0 entering it. I actually had that fight and I got cut in my 7th fight, and my manager was having an eye on whether we'll go for it. And I just said, look, I'm going for it. There's only one chance you get in this sport. So I think I boxed a lad called Tony Owen. He was the favourite at the time. And I ended up just going nuts for 3 rounds. I won it. Second round, then I ended up boxing, and last night I ended up stopping him. So yeah, I kind of blew onto the scene, and I did. It was worth it, you know, all the hard work through the years. But then, look at it then, there's been a good few downs since then.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I must admit, I think that when Eddie Hearn started doing those shows, I think it was like 32 grand for the winner, couple of grand extra if you stopped him in the final. So it was obviously, not only was it your first big night on the lights on TV, but a nice payday for you as well. So that was great for you. You then started motoring along for a few years, or a couple of years, where you started racking up. I think you got 15 or 16 undefeated. Yeah. And then you had your first shout at a British title. I think that was against Tyrone Nurse. Was that right?
Yeah, it was against Tyrone Nurse, quality operator. The first fight we had a draw. The second fight, then he nicked it. I personally think I won it myself, but you know, if I'd have won it back then, do you think I'd be boxing today? I doubt it very much.
Nah, fair enough. Talk to us a little bit about the first fight, if you don't mind, Chris. The reason I ask, if I'm right, I think you got cut. Is that right?
Story of my life, that is. Yeah, I think I got cut in my 7th fight. I boxed a Polish fighter, journeyman, strong, durable, and he just caught me with the head. And because I got quite a pronounced forehead, Neanderthal, they call me in the gym. You know, so it's boxing. It's like swimming. If you're going to go in the water, you're going to get wet, and you don't expect to get caught by head clashes in fights. But, you know, I'm a seasoned pro now, and you just got to get on with it.
How many times have you actually had a fight stopped because of the cut, Chris?
Good question. I got the Dara Foley fight. I can remember that got stopped to a cut, and that was a technical draw. Then Akima and this Brown, I think I got split in the second. I think it was really bad, and the ref left it go on. Realistically, he should have stopped it, but I was the away fighter, fighting a home fighter. He left it go into the 5th, and then he stopped it. So, you know, realistically, if you look at the fights I've lost, I think there's only one really I have lost, and that was against Tyrone Nurse.
Yeah, exactly. So you've been a bit unlucky. Do you think that sometimes fighters might go looking for that cut as a weakness because it has cut so many times?
I wouldn't like to think that, but, you know, it's really on the opponent. I'm fighting what his mentality is. If I'm obviously boxing his head off and keeping it in range, he's going to attempt to get in and attempt to throw them shots. And 9 out of 10, when you are inside, the heads are going to clash together, no matter if I'm going to stay out the way. But I just got to keep doing what I'm doing, keeping it along. And if I do go inside, make sure I cover these eyebrows of mine.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you eventually had another shot at the British title and you won it. So the cut didn't come into play that night. I think that was against Johnny Garton, was it? So how was that night winning that British title? Well, that must have been a big night for you. Yeah,
it was quality because I was literally 8 months before the fighting for that. I was going to quit the sport. You know, I was in the Who Needs Me club. I was taking fights last minute. I was getting cut. Dropping loads of weight to make the fights, having 2 weeks' notice. And me and Guy had a chat, and he said, "Look, sit down, just grind it out now. Come on, keep working. It's going to come. And we had the call up the fight. Johnny Garton, who I respect, not just in boxing, but outside boxing as well. I keep in touch with him, and everything just clicked that night. No cuts, kept my head cool. I think in the 9th round, I done a bit of showboating at the end, and Gary kind of gave me a ball again. So I went out and lost round 10 then, but it was an emotional time because from between then and losing my close mate who took his own life only a year or so earlier, and the wife who we've been through and stuff, just general, it was just a massive relief. And it shows all the hard work, all the downs we had was worth it.
Yeah, well done. And well done for sticking at it, mate, because I could see why someone would get frustrated and start questioning, should I give up or not? As you mentioned, on if you look at your record, you've only really been beaten the once where it hasn't been stopped. So, and there's no mean feat in that at all, certainly with the amount you've won and the way you've worked your way up. So that was a great night. And then you went on to win the Commonwealth as well, which you still hold now. So how was that evening?
Mate, that was out of this world, I'll be honest with you. Once again, speaking of Gary, he says you're boxing in this massive event, and me, I gave money out, that kind of thing. And I said, Gar, I'm boxing in field, mind. He goes, yeah, it's nothing small, like 20,000 people there. So it's quite intimidating, when I was there. All Paddy's fans was wooing me and cursing me walking into the ring. I just kept doing what I had to do. Obviously, head clash again. He will say otherwise. He says a punch, but there's video evidence out there showing head clash going. I thought I was winning every round. By that round, he dropped me with a body shot. I'm walking out of there with the people who were booing me at the time were kind of being respectful coming out. Well done. We think you were that good. So it was another high, I didn't think that I'd won a British, but then I was walking out there with 2 belts as well.
Yeah, so then you get yourself having the British and the Commonwealth after all that you'd gone through with the cuts and the stoppage of the fights, the defeat, the draws, and then you went out and defended both of them last time out. And what happens in that fight?
Well, that fight was, I won't watch the fight because I started slow. I done stupid things. I think it was in the 2nd round. Like back in the old days where before I moved to Gary's, things I shouldn't have done, and left myself exposed, bent over, and I got clipped on the back of the head. The momentum of the shot. Hello, I can see in the background. The momentum of the shot forced me down, but I wasn't hurt. And then I started getting into it then, and next thing you notice then is it was kind of, I don't want to say it, but the video's out there of how the cut happened, and you can make your own mind out of it. But it was like a kick in the balls. It was, but I got a good team around me. Gary Lockett, my coach. I got manager Mo. I got another member of the team, and Brett Parry. I got my wife. I got my kids. So I'm happy.
Yeah, cool. Well, look, it must have been frustrating for you again there, as I can tell from the way you're saying it. Another cut again there. But the good news, mate, you still hold the British and the Commonwealth. So what does 2021 hold for you? Have you got any ideas? Is your management team sort of like trying to line up any fights?
Well, that's all I know is I'm scheduled to fight Ekow Eusuman. I think he's 14-0. Good fighter, don't get me wrong. I got respect for him, but I just think I'm going to beat him. That's all I really know. And I'm in the gym now. I enjoy Christmas off because there was talks me fighting Ben. That didn't materialise. So, I had a good time off. Enjoyed being a dad. Obviously, working as well. And now we're back in the gym. I think it's my 3rd week back in now. I'm fit-ish. So it's just all about getting back into shape.
Fair play. Well, you're right. I was going to mention Ekow, and so he's the English champion, fights out in Nottingham. He is 14-0. So naturally, if you're the English champion, you're going to start looking for those British and Commonwealth belts. So I think he's a friend of the show as well. We've had him on before. So I think my colleague's interviewing him tomorrow. So it'd be interesting to hear what he's got to say about yourself as well. Just a quick one. You mentioned Conor Benn. You've got Conor Benn and Josh Kelly. I was going to mention those two as well, if you don't mind, just because they seem to be on a collision course. Both of them get a lot more attention than you, if you don't mind me saying it, in the public eye. Yet you're the one with those belts. You've got the British belt. You've got the Commonwealth belt. How do you find that? Does it frustrate you?
At times, don't get me wrong. Like when you drop me a DM and you say, to be honest, you know, people will mention your name, and that is what it is. I don't think. Obviously, I think that they're promoted very well, aren't they? You know, Matchroom's a big promoter. You know, we were frank and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I should be more of a idiot on social media, put more things out there, but that isn't me. You know, outside of boxing, I'm self-employed working. You know, I got family, so my day-to-day is usually gym in the morning, go to work for a couple of hours, come home, spend some time with the kids and the wife, and then go running in the night, and that's sometimes 6 days a week. So maybe I need to get myself out there, or it could be possibly where I'm from, or like you said, I seem to be around for years. So
yeah. Do you know, it's an interesting chat, because I tell you what, I interview so many people, Chris, right? And we interview some of the top level fighters, whether they're world champions, on the cusp of world, and then we interview some newly turned pros who have sort of like got jobs. What I find, and I've interviewed lots of fighters recently that have got jobs as well. What I find really interesting is that the British and Commonwealth welterweight title holder actually is still working at the same time, which shows me that you're just not maybe getting that publicity that some of the others are. But really interesting. It shows that you're a good family man and you're working hard to get that anyway. So hopefully, you know, if you have a good 2021, and then you can like earn a lot more cash out of it and see where the future goes there. You are towards the end of your career, but should you come through Ekow, if that's the one that you get, then obviously maybe someone like a Conor Benn or a Josh Kelly, they look like they're on a collision course. What do you think about their two fights? You've obviously got Josh Kelly out against Vanesian. Yeah, you said it better than me, mate. Well done. Do you think he'll win that?
Kelly fighting Vanesi, that's a good fight. You know, Josh Kelly's he's flash, he's slick, he's got good movements, and he's the boxer, and Vanesi's the come forward fighter, and by the looks of his record, he can bang a bit as well. So that's an interesting fight. And then you've got, I think it's Ben's fighting Vargas, I think it is.
That's it.
Vargas, I read something today. I don't even know nothing really about it, but I think
Vargas is the fella. He knocked down Amir Khan, I think.
Aye, but I think he lost his last outing, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So is he catching these fighters at the right times? Mm-hmm. You know, if he is, fair play to Eddie going for matchmaking him.
Definitely.
Him, you know, and then, you know, I got no hate towards any of them. You know, I wish them all the best in the world.
Well, someone, if they want them belts, someone's got to come and take them off you, right? So they can't just keep them without fighting you.
It's business, isn't it, when you fight? And, you know, hopefully I can get some sponsors as well. So that'll be even better. So,
yeah. Good stuff, mate. Well, look, before I let you go, I did want to ask you one more question. Being the glamour division that is the welterweight division, two fighters on the other side of the water in America are arguably up there as pound-for-pound champs.
Crawford's the best.
Well, that was my question. So you think Crawford's better than Spence, yeah?
Yeah, simple as. I think he's keeping the momentum going. So I just think he is just above them all. Yeah, granted, he beat the Kell Brook the other day. Stopped him in, I think it was the third or fourth round. Mm-hmm. You know, Kell, I don't want to disrespect the man, but he's had his days, haven't he? Yeah. He's been in some terrific fights. He's been in some wars. He's been in fractured eye sockets. But I think Crawford's the main man out there.
Yeah, interesting, you know, because I changed my mind on Crawford and Spence all the time. I watched Crawford and I thought, hang on, maybe he's number one ahead of Spence. Then I watched Spence and I was kind of back and forth. And you're right, Crawford was great against Kell Brook. I mean, Kell started to fight well. You know, maybe his eye, as you've mentioned, sort of like that. Yeah. What do you think if there's rumours that are sort of like gathering pace at last for Khan and Brook, maybe? Do you think that that's a good fight? Is it past its sell-by date? Who do you think wins?
I got asked that the other day, and I'll stick to my, no, at the end of the day, they fight their men. They win the world, don't they? Whether people are going to say it should have happened 5 years ago, well, realistically, it should have. I'll watch it. And personally, I'll have to lean more towards Khan. Even though Brook's got the punching power, the ability to switch and things like that. But I just think Khan's hand speed's going to be a bit too much. But there'll be some squeaky bum time there for Khan when he does get clipped, because obviously everyone calls him glass jaw. I think it'll be a good fight, simple as. And hopefully they make a bit of cash out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, especially if Eddie gets involved in promoting it, which he seems to be the master at that. Well, look, thanks for taking time out, Chris. Really good chatting to you. Hopefully, when you do get your fight announced, maybe we'll get another interview in with you like Fight Week. Who knows? Depending when it is, we might even be able to be there and watch it. But fingers crossed that if that'll be later in the year, probably. All right?
Yeah, no worries, my man.
Thanks so much, Chris. All the best, mate. Cheers.
Thank you.
Take care, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.